This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. So people who joined online, let me know if you are not able to see screen or not able to hear my voice. Okay. So today we'll start off with another search tool called or utility called Awk. The name or the full form for Awk acronym, right? It comes from not because of a utility or something. It comes from people who have invented or came up with this kind of utility. Okay. The three people are Eho, Weinberger, and Cunningham. The last person is very famous for you by now, right? He is the person who is one of the founder of C, Cunningham, Ritchie and all, right? So he is the person who has come up with this kind of utility as well. And then just understand it is not just a command or anything as such. Arc in itself is a programming language. Okay, it has lots of functionality that it can do. When you compare yourself with grep, fgrep or sed, right, each one has come up because of its own advantages which we didn't see in other tools. As I was telling, there were some disadvantages in the tool before. That is why something was brought up in the next utility, right? Similarly here as well, Arc supports programming language, right? I will tell you one example where we'll put some code inside this utility itself and then make it to run, right? That time you will understand, oh, this Arc came up because of that reason, right? So just understand that it is one more powerful tool. Okay, it also supports programming languages. Okay, so the basic thing, if you see ls minus l command, what does it do? List of all the files. It's nothing but a long list. Okay, so can I do pipe to something and do columnar field searches and all? What I'm trying to say is, let me open up my, you're comfortable with Linux before, or are you completely new to Linux platform?
I know little bit is part.
Okay. So, but are you aware of creating an account, having instances ready and all of those, or not yet? If not, we have already shared that documentation as well. Go through the screenshots and all. It's self-explanatory. Okay. With that, you will be able to create one AWS account like this and create your own machines. And we will be using these machines, okay, for our practice reasons. Okay. So ls minus l will give me a similar output. If you notice clearly, this particular data output is in a form of column and row, like an Excel sheet, just that it doesn't have lines. That's all. Okay, it is all columnar data or some kind of a DB data, database data, kind of replica. Okay, so if I want to have only the information that is highlighted in column number 1, right? Can I do something with any other tool which was discussed previously? Word count will tell me what? How many words are there? How many characters are there? How many bytes has it consumed and all? SCD will tell me about rows. I want something between third and 10th row. SCD utility will tell me something on 10th row complete. But is there any utility which will tell me on the columnar basis? grep $1, $2, something of that sort. But I have to do lot of process to get to that level, right? What this command will tell me, if I want column number 1, you should just say ls minus l as usual. Provide this input to or output to input to another command. So which means that I have to use a pipe. After that, I know that utility which will help me is arc, right? The command which will help me to fetch out columnar data is arc. Just now I told you, right? So arc. How do I use arc? I have to just say flower bracket. In this, I want to print some data. What print I have to do? Column. Which column I have to do? That I should represent with $1. Okay, that time, if you see the output, it will be only showing me the row or columns of the entire data that is displayed by ls minus l. Okay, if I need something like fourth, how do I count? 1, spaces are to be left over. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, all that I need to replace is 4. Okay, fine. I am able to pull out one column completely. If I want 2, 3, how do I do? Comma and add that one. Suppose that I want $4 along with $1. Okay, fine. But if I want column number 4 first and 1 later, all that you need to do is replace. How that you want to print? Just think of your C programming basics. All are from computer science background, right? Whatever background it is, mechanical, whatever. First semester will be of C only. You will be using some basic print statements and all. How you want to represent the data on your console is important, is the one that you are bothered about. So if I say $3 or 4 first and later 1, it will just modify. That's all. So you need to make up your mind first that how should my output be. Later put it in appropriate command format. Okay. That is why I tell you command is not important. What the command does, if you know, you can Google and do that logic anything. Okay, but you should know awk is used only for pulling columnar data, right? If it is said, it is row data, right? If it is grep, fgrep, fixed length, extended grep, all of those you should make sure that okay, this command does this command does this. How it will be done, even you can Google and do that. If you spend some 5 minutes time, you will be able to do 100 examples there. Okay, that's the thing. So if we go a little bit, this is the primary exam or primary use case of awk. When do I have to use awk? Next thing, cut will also do the same thing, but how many of cuts I have to do and how many field delimiters I have to use, I have to calculate all that. This doesn't require anything. And you also have to remember that it already has a default delimiter. Which one? Space. But if I want to have something, I need to specify. How do I specify? Again with -f, but there it is -d. And again I have to come to the cut level, I have to reach from ls minus lrt, put it to a text file or something. After that text file, I have to cut that fields. Here there is no requirement of text file at all in between. I'm making it much more efficient and faster, right? We should think of solutions which will be taking less time to compile or process the data and give you the output in a sooner way, right? If you see this one, this same above command, we were talking of something called time. It tells you how much time it took to process this particular command. For these basic commands, it makes no difference. Any command that you use, cut or grep or print or awk or whatever, it will tell every time 0 only. What makes a difference or when it makes a difference is when you go to programming or anything as such, or if you are building some complex build jobs and all, that is the time each command will take, not 0 seconds. It will take some 5 seconds, 5 milliseconds, 10 seconds, even minutes and hours as well, right? That time all these things will process faster, and that is what we call it in technical terms as code optimization, right? Or profiling. Okay, I don't want to use these words because you are not so familiar still. I want you to learn the basics first. Later I will speak about code optimization, analyzers, and then we'll go deeper and deeper. Okay, then I will tell you about something called profiling. Okay, I don't want to confuse you folks with those terms right now, but understand that it is efficient than cut. Okay, cut again is not a programming language in itself. This is a programming language. Awk is not just a command. Okay, in that fashion, you need to know the differences between tools or utilities, right? And next, suppose this is explained, basic print. How do I print 1 column, 2 columns? Okay, suppose you know about this insert cat home. What does it do? All the users. But here my delimiter should be what? If I want to put out something like first column, second column, or anything as such, my delimiter here is not space, it is colon, correct? So I have to have a provision to say colon as my delimiter. Default was space. How do I do that one here? Minus F, arc minus capital F, and then if you see my delimiter here, I should mention explicitly. Previously, I was not mentioning here, right? Here I want to mention that my delimiter should be column. Basing on that one, you print column 1, right? And for which file I have to print? This one. It can be either a file or it can be a command which will help me print that data. So if I put all of this, only the user's name will come. Okay, if my interest is to see only the top 5 rows, what I should do? Head, correct? That's all. Think what my output should be, how I would get, what is the appropriate command, how I should use it. That's all. Right? That is the logic formation. Okay, next. Default delimiter is this one. Okay. Sorry?
Why did you give
This is the command. This is an argument. Argument, the language itself is telling me to use capital F. If you see man page of this /2 minus F says minus F. The argument, if you use small f, suppose, will it work? No, you should use what is mentioned in the documentation, how the command is giving you to use. I am not defining anything as arg, this is not my utility, right? Command should be everything in small letters, okay? Arguments can be capitals or small letters, okay? Just understand the difference. And next, arc can be placed either in the beginning, okay, what appropriate field that you want to print, and later the file or the source from where you want to cut. I don't want to mention it as password file or anything, I'll just say source file because it can be tomorrow your database as well, right? So it can be either a command or a DB or Excel sheet or a notepad file which maintains all of this plain text, right? Legacy tools have plain text also as their DB. Okay, everything is written to flat file is what we say. Everything is written to a file. Even that becomes your log, for example. It is also a kind of DB only. It logs all the information that you want, right? So in that way, it is what is called as flat file. Flat file is also one kind of database for you. Okay, so I don't want to mention that it is a command output or anything. It can be anything. So I'll mention it as source. The source can be a part of your first primary this thing. So if I say get ent password also, it will result me the same output. But for that one, I need some column data. Okay, which column I want? Again, you have to repeat the same thing. So which means what? All of the part 1 will now become your part 2. Okay, but you should know only that I have to use a pipe symbol because the output of this command, okay, goes as input to your command here for the arc. So you can think this way. The syntax should be arc, its usage, sorry, dot circle, its usage till the print one or whatever, and then pipe it to a file name, right? Or it can be a command which you want to provide as out input to arc. Getting it? So that's the syntax. Can I raise it off? Wait, I will save it because it will be helpful for my next class. Next batch. Okay. Next. You understood the basic arc, right? Now what we will do, we will run through some few examples. For that, I will be using this kind of a database. Okay, some data. It can be anything for you tomorrow. Okay, so I think I have this EMP data ready. Yes, I have this. Okay, it's the same example. So let's start using this arc as some few examples I'll show you. Okay, so what I was telling you, arc command, basic arc, and then the file name, right? Arc command, pipe it, and then send it as file name. So the same thing here. emp.txt is my file name, arc is my command. Okay, what will happen now? Print all. Why? I didn't pass any which column to be outputted, right? So it will print all as is. But if I want to put a restriction, I have to say dollar value. Sorry. Okay. Getting it? If I want to restrict now with the number of fields that I want, head, tail, right? Now, further thing, if I have to still, if I want to say, suppose I have two words called account, if I want a unique name for it, or only one entry should be there. If this I can redirect to a file, I have duplicate entries. If I want to delete off the duplicate entries, yes. So that is how you have to think the logic. So it should be redirected to a text file, correct? That text file should have sort minus u and file name, or file name sort hyphen u. Getting it? Depending upon the output, you have to think which logic will help me process this. Getting it? So that's the way. Here also, if I have 4 sales, 3 accounts, if I use sort minus u, there will be only 1 account and 1 sales, right? So that is nothing else. These are all the same basic examples. Okay, suppose this example, if I take, I have a word called manager, right? If I want to use arc to print only which has a word called manager, rest of the lines I don't want, that is the time you will use arc, search for a word called manager, and then print that for which DB. Okay, DB or a file name. So if I say this, it will only print the lines which has manager. Okay, here I am using again print full, so that is why it was printing me the whole row. Okay, but if I want to still restrict here, saying $1 or something, it will only print the names, it will not print the entire table. Getting it? I have to just modify what according to my use. Okay, next, this is self-explanatory. $1, $4, first and fourth. Here comes NR. NR is something like if I want to print the row numbers, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, were they coming in your previous output? Row numbers, like just like how your Excel sheet shows you. No, right? So if I want number of rows, row count kind of, okay, that is the time you have to mention NR, comma, which field also you want. Okay, else it is not required, depending upon your use case. Okay, so if I don't want this, don't put NR. Getting it? And then similarly, I have something called NF. I'll just copy paste. I should write it. I can move faster. Number of rows alloc. NR means number of rows. Okay, so what does NF say? NF says, sorry, last field. NF means number of fields only according to the acronym, but the display wise it will print only the last thing, like 45,000. I can't keep a count like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like this in a real time world. Here I'm able to count and say $5, $1, something like that. But if I don't know how many columns are there, but I want the last column, right? In Excel sheet, it will help you at the top. Numbers are there. You will be able to easily pull out. But in this kind of flat file, I don't know which column number is my last. So that is the time I will use NF, blindfoldedly print my last row or last column. Okay. So $1 comes because of first one. Okay, NF will come because of my last column. That's all. And anything in between, if you want, you can still put here. Okay. You have to think of. We'll try. I never tried. Will it work? Yes. It's a programming language, right? It will work. No. It subtracted value 1. It's a programming language, now it will not think that way. Maybe try. It will subtract value 1. We'll put a use case to arc. Okay. I don't think so it has. No, it says syntax error. Or look through the man page if it has anything. No logic, nothing. Okay. Next, suppose this is about range. Like yesterday's example only. First row, first column, last column, something in between range. Yesterday's set also was like that only. First line, last line, in between the lines. Right? So this is also the same example. If I want something in between third and sixth, everything to be printed. 3, 4, 5, 6 that way. So this is the use case for me. Okay. Arc NR3, this one. NR is because of this 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. $0 is everything that I give in the front. Okay, $1 says whatever is there in my flat file. $0 is anything that is mentioned prior in my command. Okay, there is no $-1. Understood? So these are a few examples that we can think of using arc. And now comes the powerful one. If suppose I have sample text, should I see? Okay, I have something called as sample text. Okay, here. Good. This is also one kind of, though it is not so good formatting mechanism is all used, it is also one kind of database only. It has some rows, it has some columns. Okay. Now, if I want something called as a hyphen in between, I'm able to print the rows. But if you see the rows, it is not properly sorted for few, like just like this example. It doesn't have a proper formatting style, right? But if I want to differentiate between this is column 1, this is column 2 or something, Excel has some lines. I'm able to see the difference. But if I don't have it, I have to put something as a delimiter or something now. That delimiter is nothing but this hyphen. If you have a space here, it also brings you that space there. Whatever is going as a part of this string will get printed in the console the same way. Okay, just like any other command, even this follows the output onto the console only, which means what? std out. Getting? So if I run this, I will only have this hyphen and a space, right? Understood? So that is the usage. Okay, next, print $2. This is self-explanatory. Print $2. Straight away print second column. Okay. This is something called as a logic. Okay. NF greater than 0. Any value, if it is greater than 0, NF means what again? Last is something like a value 1, 2, 3. So it can be used as a greater than 0, less than 0, whatever logic. Okay. I can't use like GT. GT, LT are all for character-based strings. This is numeric data. So I have to use only greater than or greater than equal to something of that sort. Okay. But if my example, my intention is to show you some that I can use some logic. All the values in the last column are greater than 0, right? So that is why it is printing something. If I have something like 10, do I have anything like greater than 10? So it should not output, doesn't output, but at the same time it should not throw me an error just because if I have any syntactical error in the command, it should tell me some error. The command here doesn't have any problem. The data doesn't have anything that satisfies my command. What is that? Rule, right? I have a rule saying NF if it is greater than 10 only display, but it is not syntactical error. So that is why it is not showing any error. So what should be my echo? Right? If it throws any error, that time it will bring 1. Okay, just because it did not bring me any rows doesn't mean I will have 1. Getting it? So think of this and print NR first. But what is seen in the front? So you are using some begin and end. Begin with something, you begin some loop. If loop, you write it with flower bracket, right? Here, in replacement to open and close bracket, these people have given you a logic to use end and begin. Okay. Let me explain this one through the output. It becomes easier for you. See, after I execute everything at the end, if I don't have this end, I will show you what it is. How many rows are being printed? 4. But I want to just print word count kind of. 4 rows only, total 4. LS minus L. Someone was asking what is that 96 in the beginning, something, right? The total. I want that to be displayed, which means what? That should be my last part of my execution in my loop. So that is why I say something called end with something. Okay. But if it is something like I have to begin a loop itself with something, keyword should be begin. Okay. So if you think this example, this is actual programming. Okay, the last examples that I was showing is all about programming logic embedded into awk command. Okay, so something like this. All that you see here from here till the dead end of the flower bracket is all some logic, right? But you want to begin that particular logic also. If loop starting, so if flower bracket open, if in case of shell it is like square bracket open, so here it is begin. If you write anything in small, it will say error. These keywords are given by the awk command or programming language itself. Okay, so I have to use the same keywords. Now, just understand what is there in the flower bracket open till the end. Okay, all that I'm trying to use is a for loop. Okay, within the for loop, I am printing something called the print statement. Okay, if you ask me in C, C++ or whatever, how would it be? I equal to 0 semicolon I less than 10 times I have to repeat the loop, and it should have also an increment operator, which means like I plus plus, but within this I have open and close. Okay, within it I write some print, right? This is my logic. At the end I would have a semicolon. This is actual C, correct? The same thing I am also using it without this indentation, all in one line. Okay, does it resemble now? Same thing. Okay, no difference. Okay, what went into the print? Hello. I can as well print hello, but my intention here is to print something like square of some value is something. Again, that square, how would I get? Square of 2. How do I get 2 into 2? Which means if it is I square, I into I. But I is supplied by whom? For loop. Correct? So that is why square of value I, which means in that iteration, what would be the value? It will print here and then also calculate here, right? But my fixed string square of, it should always print square of only at the beginning. That's a fixed string. That is why I have that in double quotes. Whatever that calculation should happen should not contain that double quote. Okay, whatever the string that I want to print only should be inside my double quote, not even single quote. Getting it? Why I am telling you is because when I come back to shell or whatever, I will tell you a concept called variable interpolation, substitution and all. At that time, all this will make sense to you more. Okay, anything in double quotes only, I told you, very basic definition for you to clarify, okay? Anything in double quote, anything in a sense like variable name, like here in this case, it is I, okay? If I keep it within double quote only, it will print the value contained in it, but it should again have dollar value, $I, only then it will print the value, else it will not print, okay? If it is more confusing, forget it, I will come back again, okay? But for now, for people who are able to or have worked in Perl or anything before, shell or anything, I is a variable name. The value contained in I will be $I. If I don't have double quotes around $I, it will not print the value. It will print $I. But if I say double quotes $I, then it will print the value contained in I. This is the meaning, actual meaning, okay? Getting it? So, do I have anything called dollar in my example here? No. So, I should not put double quotes around I. Okay? Making sense now? Any questions? No voice, sir. What happened? Oh, that was at 8:05. Okay. Okay. People who joined online, are you able to get through this logic? This example in particular, because this is very simple one, but the intricacies are what you need to understand. If you understand this one, the same logic you will go and apply elsewhere. Okay. Yes, it will be printing something like how many rows I may have, something. Okay, what is it? Okay, so what I was telling is, let me copy it onto notepad so that it will be bigger. It is increment operator here. If you want to use a decrement operator, what it should be? I minus minus, but what will have? But then here what I should make? If I don't make it? No, your logic was okay. I minus minus, it is decrementing. If it is I less than 6 only, it will decrement now. But I value is 1, so will it decrement? No, which means output will not come. If I have something like 10, would it work now? Yes, so you need to make a change here. To the condition, you don't have to make it. Condition or rule, you don't have to change anything. But for the increment and decrement, you need to make it. Okay. If you don't properly look through these values, it might run into negative as well. Like the value can be -1, -2, -3 as well. Okay. Okay, someone was asking again repetition, right? We'll go back to the base example. We'll not confuse them more. Okay, this was my primary example. Okay, before I go here, Mithun, do you have any basic knowledge of C or anything, any programming language before? Yes. Okay. So just understand that if you are aware of some C language, we will be using a for loop like this. For, okay, what would be my first value? I value, which is nothing but declaration, right? And then condition, and then increment or decrement depending upon my logic. After that comes my flower braces open and flower braces close. In C, C++, I have to maintain something called as indentation. right? Proper ordering of logic. So what I would do do some either calculation here, some formulas, logic or whatsoever calculation, and then I do print of what that output should be, right? So here in this case, print also, I am doing something like this. You would have used percentile D, comma, ampersand, some value F for whatever the variable name it is, right? The same thing here I may use another semicolon to say end of statement, correct? The same thing think through if I don't have indentation. I don't have to do calculation also here, right? All that I need to do is put some spaces for your understanding, that's all, right? All that I have kept from here to here, right, is all this. So if I have to replace these words with this logic, how I have to write? For open braces, curly braces, round brackets, okay, and then say what? First one should be my declaration. I am declaring some value, variable ka value. So I equal to 0. After that comes semicolon, right? After that comes condition. My condition, if I am saying that I should be less than 10, until that do something. Okay, so I have to say I less than equal to 10. Or if it is not even equal to, I will not even put this equal to. I will just say I less than. Okay, depending upon my condition, I have to put it in proper mathematical format. Okay, nothing else. Semicolon. Okay, after that comes increment or decrement. If I want to increment, okay, how I should say I equal to I plus how much I should increment. I equal to I plus 1. If I want to do 3, 4 each time, jump 4 times by a value of 4, I have to write some logic like that. But if I want to automatically increment by 1, even this is good one. Else, I don't want to use equal to plus this many operators and all. Won't want to confuse. I will use simple this, right? After that comes my print statement. Okay, print what? The value of I, or do some calculation or do some magic for I and then print that one. So that is what is this double quotes. Okay, double quotes means what? Simple string. Okay, but if I want to print something which is like value of something, I directly have to say I. But it is, remember, even in C, if you are printing something, it is all that you are printing as a series of stream. Yesterday we have spoken, right? All that is a stream. So everything, it should be like comma, print this plus print also the next one plus print also something else. So that is why I put comma, comma, comma. Getting it? That's the only logic. Done? Okay, so that is it. Yes. Okay. So other thing, if I want to say something like 10 and then come till the level of 6, okay, or check from 6 and then say minus minus, what it will do now? Don't do. Why? Its condition itself is not met. My I value is 10. I should always be less than equal to 6, then only do something. Condition will not satisfy. It is not printing anything for me. Okay, so that is it. That's the logic. But this is not syntactically wrong. This is syntactically correct. Only that the logic and the value is not being met or satisfied. Okay, so I shall delete this page. This is not required. That is all about how to play around with arc. Okay, more about arc, more examples if you want to explore, do some changes to this logic itself, or read through the man page of arc and then think about how I can display this one, how I can do this one, or else I'll give you tasks as well if you want. Okay, so that is the way to work around with arc. Okay, next, with this we can say, or we can wind up what is the topic that we were discussing since last 2 days or so about the search techniques, right? All this come under filtering, search, or anything, find, right? With this, we can say arg, grep, sed, cut, find are all utilities to streamline your data or confine your data to whatever you want, the way you want else. Okay, so with this we are done with the tools for find, replace, string, stream and all. Okay, now we'll go to something else before something like process. Okay, before we go into that one, do you have any questions on find commands? Not just find, search technique commands, which means what you didn't practice.
Practice.
So you have no questions. I can give you some questions to you. Okay, fine. I will try to post few questions as tasks for you in the group. Try doing them. Okay. Next, online people. Are you having any questions on arc, set, find, cut?
Find the definition I need.
No, there is no INAME. It is just insert.
Application.
It's there, is it? I was thinking it's insert mode. Okay, I have to correct my notes now. Oh, INAME is a pattern. Okay, fine. Good. Let me think whether I have made some changes there. I already saved it, I think. Next time I should not find it difficult. Okay, good. So with this, regex I'll come deeper again, but base things you should understand. These are all ranges. Fgrep, syntax, arc. Okay. With that, we'll start with something new, which is all about process. This is little theoretical, little practical. Okay, so try to be focused because this is what we actually use during our debugging process. Debugging, triaging, right? All the utilities that we speak of, we will be using in real time during anything like mishap, panic situations, or something is not working, something is breaking. All these things are our mechanisms that we can use to fix the issues. Okay, so anything in Linux is a process. Process in English means what?
Runner of instance.
English. Don't go into computer science. Process means what? Do something. Simple words. Okay, so that is what I wrote here. Okay, we are doing something. Okay, now come to our Linux process. Linux process means what? You initiate one terminal. This is one terminal, right? So you initiate as soon as the system boots, you open up a terminal and start to work, which means at the back end, one process is running. How do you know a process is running as soon as you open up this kind of terminal? Who command? Who logged in, it will tell. But will it tell anything about the process here? No. Okay. Will it tell anything like this? TTY? Yes. See the output here. PTS 0. There is something called PTS 0, which is coming from home directory called or /dev, which is again a system directory, right? So this terminal TTY is terminal type. Okay. This terminal ID or instance, as you said, right? This terminal has a number. That number is nothing but a representation like this. Linux people wanted to represent with some 0, 1. If I say open another terminal, suppose I say duplicate this session, duplicate also another session. How many do I have open now? 3 I have. Okay, fine. Now if I say who, are you able to see? same user Ubuntu logged into this particular terminal called 0, also logged into another terminal called 1, also logged in into another terminal called 2. This is 1, this is 2, or maybe this is 1, this is 2, something. Right? How do I know? I have to just say TTY. See, this is 2, this is not 1. As soon as I opened this one, this should be 2. This should be 1 because this was my 0. It should ideally be 1. But this terminal opened faster than this one. That is why it took 1 and this was given 2. Getting it? So forget about the ordering, but it will be given some tag or some ID number kind of terminal ID. Okay. That if you want to identify which terminal are you working on, that is the command to use TTY. Okay. And this itself is a process. Okay. Opening a session itself for Linux, it's a process. Getting it? That is the basic definition of process. Next, the command that will tell you about the process that are already running in the system. Right? There are many processes that you are doing. You are writing some Perl program. You are writing some text file. Each one is triggering something. You are trying to do some task, which means some process is being running. How do you identify those processes? Or how do you come to know of that process? Whether it is running, finished, starting state, all that. There is a command called PS. Okay, PS means process state. Okay, so if you hit enter, you will come to know this is my, sorry, able to see it, right? It became small suddenly. Okay, I think I have to still increase. Huh? Oh, this is not a classroom. School. Okay, so PS command speaks about process state. Okay, when you hit this command, what and all information does it give? It speaks about all the processes that are running. Okay, in this particular machine. Which machine name? This one, compute one, Amazon, something which I hooked on to here. Okay, on this machine, how many processes are running? Okay, so these two processes are presently running. You see here, I just hit PS command, so it triggered one process. I was speaking that this environment is some bash shell, right? So bash is also running, right? I opened up a terminal which uses a bash shell. This is nothing but your black and white screen. That is the environment you are working in. So that is why you are able to see one process attached to it. Okay. Now if I hit enter PS again, are you able to see any difference in between these output and this output? Process ID change. Why? That is the exact thing that I was looking for. Here it didn't change. 1648 remained as 1648. Why? This process ID is for your environment, bash. Did I close this anytime? No, I'm still in the same shell. So that is why it is continuing the same state. The moment I close, reopen, and again hit PS command, it will bring me a new number, new process ID. But if you see, the PS command I hit before here, it finished its execution, task is over. That moment task is over, the process ID also is done. Its job is done. Right? The next time I do again the same command called PS, it will initiate another process ID. Right? So that is why I was getting another process ID here. Okay. Understood? Okay. It also gives me on which terminal I was doing all these things. If you see this one, this is my second terminal. So that is why PTS2. Okay. At how much time it took to execute and what command I ran for that particular PID or whatever. Okay, all the details this PS will tell me. Okay, now we'll go into a little bit of theory again now. Practical is over. Now this practical will put it in some theory format. So every program that you execute and it is should be in running state. Okay, or in some state. That is what we call it out as in process, in execution. Right? So that's it. A program under execution is nothing but what we call it as process. Sir, last bench. Listening? Okay. So if you don't want to write this much of theory, the simple thing is this: program under execution. Bash is a program. PS is also to be thought of as program. It's not a command. Command or program, whatever it is. Awk is a command, but internally to it, it's a program. Okay, it is under execution. Okay, it will give me some PID. Getting it? Okay. These are the commands that I will use to figure out what is my process ID, which command I have triggered and all. Okay. So PS minus O is nothing but output PID, PPID, TTY. I will tell you this one, what it is. PS gives me what? Only PID, TTY, time and command. Only 4 arguments display. But if I want something more, like PID means what? Process ID. Okay. PPID means parent process ID. This is child, which means what? It came into existence because of some parent command, right? Okay. What is my PPID? Parent process ID. Which terminal it came from? TTY. Okay. After that, which user has triggered? See, ID Ubuntu. Ubuntu is the user, right? Right. So I can say ID Ubuntu. It will tell me my user ID is 1000. Right. That is this 1000. Okay. Which command arguments did I pass? Or command? Arguments means command. Okay. What did I command? What was my command? PS minus O. The entire thing was my command. Understood the break? The display of output. Okay. All this information would be meaningful to debug. Suppose your process is in hung state. Your machine went to a bad state. You should identify which process hung, which process is safe. Right? So if you want to restart something, if you want to kill something, all that you need to identify is PID, PPID, which program, why it got hung. Because each time you run, it may go into hung state only, which means what? Your program under execution has some problem, logic problem. So that is why it is going into hung state. So you should know which command of yours is taking you to that situation. So you have to fix the root cause, not killing this particular process ID each time and saying my machine is safe. Understood? That is how you debug the issue. So every entry in this is equally important for you. Okay. Next.
What is the ARG?
Arguments. ARGS means arguments. This one, the commas. I'm passing something to my command. All this while to the find whatever minus arc minus f. Minus f is an argument. Okay. Anything that I pass on to my command is what we call it as arguments. Here ARGS is the shortcut that I used. Okay. Next. TTY, we have spoken about the terminal. Okay. This is the command that we used. User ID, I showed you the output ID Ubuntu. How do you get that UID, GID and all? Okay. So what is the why did I type the command called ID Ubuntu to figure out UID, which means what? To understand the user first. User, is he root? Is he a normal person, or is he a group, or is he coming from other group? I have to know about something about the user. If he is not able to perform some command, why is he not able to perform that command? Right? Installation, suppose installing some binary or anything, it should be done by only the root. If I run through as user myself, I am failing. So I should know which user is triggering, why is he not able to do, which permission is blocked for him to execute that one. If I know all this only, I will be able to identify the root cause, right? So that is why I was using UID to identify which user was triggering which command and why he was successful or why he was failed. Getting it? Understood? Next. This is just an example. ID minus U. Minus U is for user. Which user? This one. Even if I Don't mention minus u also, it will tell me the same output. Okay, next, args are for arguments. Okay, next, now little bit of theory. After that we'll go back to commands again. Any process, okay, Linux process that you are seeing on the black and white screen, this entries, right, have a life cycle, which means what? I'm triggering or I'm hitting some command on the screen because of which the birth of a process happens. It executes or does some process, it does some job. After some time, its job is done, it kills itself, which means it is exiting, right? If it is not exiting means what? It is still under execution, it is still running, correct? That's all. That is what is this one. How a process is born? A process is born because of two reasons. One, because of itself, or because of someone want some sub-step to be done, right? Either because of itself, which we call it technically as fork. Fork again leads to kernel. I don't want to go into that level, but understand this way. A command either triggers its own process or it has to execute some sub-step because of which it is creating another child. Understood? I will tell something called PS tree a little further, then you will understand the tree mechanism also. Which one is being child, which one is parent, all those things. Okay. So understand for now that it is fork or else exec. Exec means what? The child process. Fork means what? The main command, which is nothing but your PPID kind of. Okay. Just understand that. Okay. This exec vim means what? I am executing a command called vim inside my terminal. That's all, nothing else. Forget about that one. Okay, this is more important. This is nothing but your dollar question mark. After a command is over, what I'm trying to do sometimes to show you that is it a safe exit or an unsafe exit? Is it a successful command output or it was it unsuccessful? I was doing echo dollar question mark, right? It was giving me some return status, exit status or else, right? Basing on the exit status, I was able to tell my program ran successful, my program was failed, okay, was not successful, something of that sort. Okay, which means what? The exit code can either be a zero or a non-zero. Okay, suppose you see here, my last command was successful. Okay, I have these particular files and folders on my system in this particular directory. Now suppose I don't have something called cd to Nirmal. I don't have a directory, so I will be failing, which means some error will come. So which means what? Echo dollar question mark should say something. So each error, no such file or directory is tagged to a return code called 1. If it is 2, it is something else. Non-availability of something. Resource not available. It's not just directory not available. It can be anything. Suppose that you are running some C program, but C++ binary GCC itself is not available. Compiler. It is a resource not available, right? It will be mapped to some non-zero number, not 1, right? So that way you should understand. So it can be anything between 1 to 155. Everything is treated as failure. 0 is success. Okay, fine. Understood till here? People who are joined, people who joined online, do you have any questions until here? Nothing. Okay. So this is the example I took. This particular directory doesn't exist. It was throwing me some no such file or directory. Okay. And when I tried this echo dollar question mark, it was showing me 1. Okay, fine. This is another thing. All that you saw here, PS command output. Okay. Does it have 1 or 1648, some random number? Random number, something is attached. But if it has 1, root. Root for what? Root user is not triggering anything. It is the first init command. Okay, when your system reboots, it does something called as basic steps. I was telling you in the first class of my Linux. How does the boot process happen in Linux? grub, mbr, kernel, init commands, rc, all that is step by step, it does everything. So when it hits that init command, that is the actual time one process gets attached. That process by default, the system gives the value called 1. You cannot change that one. Understood? Anything that you run after will have some random number like this. But anything when you spin up the machine, right? If you see anything called 1, it is triggered by init process. When you rebooted the machine itself, it is available. Okay, or started your machine, it is available. Okay, so that is all about PS1. PS1 means process ID, PID1. How do I minimize this? Okay. So if I have a PID value 1, it is nothing but my init command. This init command comes because of my start of my machine, not because of your ls command or ls minus l command. Okay, so that's it. Now these are the basic commands. You don't have to write anything. I just copy pasted from my man page. If you see this one, man, ps, everything is like copy pasted only. I don't want to visit this page all over. That is why I copy pasted this data. Okay, you can copy paste this free. This is open source, right? Anything proprietary you should not copy paste. This is open source. You can copy any number of times, any number of copies you can maintain. Okay, understood why Linux is free, Linux is open source, and I'm free to copy, right? Now come back to my notepad. So the basic command says ps. I executed ps. How the output was, I was able to tell you. Next, ps minus e. If I say ps, it shows me this output. ps minus e. What is this? So much of output. So if I want to say head, you see here, all that it displays is PID, TTY, time, and CMD. PS also was returning the same thing, right? But then PS minus E versus PS, what is the actual difference?
In case of PSI, it's the entire process. The system process as well as the
User process. So understand these two things. If you notice clearly, these are the commands that you triggered as a user, right? Anyone who logs into the machine, multi-user environment is Linux, right? So anyone who logs into the same machine can execute his commands also. But when I say PS, would it show that as well? Yes. So anything that the system runs behind without your knowledge, right? All those are the things that is this one. It is something like there is a system daemon, there is something called threads, there is something called kworker. We do not have to go into specifics of each thing. It is all related to administration level. We are not that. We are only focused on user level. Okay, but just
need a terminal.
all those run in background. I'll come to it. I'll speak something called as daemon process, zombie process, all those things. Little bit of theory, but it is required. Okay, but understand that anything that you trigger, PS will help you. Anything that the system triggers itself on the whole, either it is you, someone else, or the system itself, that is PS minus E. Understood? Next. Similarly, PS minus EF as well as ELY, it will display more number of columns. If you see this one, I will all the rows because it is confusing. We will see only the head. See, it tells about something called as wait channels. It tells about terminal. It tells about time of execution. Okay, it tells about the command, priority. Okay, few things even I don't know. Parent ID, UID 0. Why? Because it is triggered by the system. It doesn't have any number like 1000, 2000 or something. Okay, this yes may be the reason that it is system driven, triggered. Okay, status. Okay, correct. It is initialized something and all it was telling. Correct. So this is status. But we should be focused about anything that is being run by us mostly, not by the system. Okay, but just understand that it will print all this set of columns or rows. right? All the data will be printed by ELY command. Okay, next. Okay, next we will go to another set of commands which are coming from BSD. BSD means what? It's another flavor of Linux which is also free. BSD means Berkeley Software Distribution. Just like how you have Ubuntu, how you have Red Hat, this is another distribution, another flavor. Okay, this is used internally in every flavor. FreeBSD is what we say. Just like how Linux is free, this version of Linux is also free. This came just at the time of Unix, not at Linux time, and that is like copy pasted in every flavor of Linux. Okay, so BSD means Berkeley Software Distribution. Okay, those people have given something called as PS minus AX. The understanding is A means all. Okay, U means user. Who is the user? X. It can be anyone. Okay, so what I am trying to print by PS minus AX is, also remember that a hyphen is not mandatory. It can be with or without. Okay, so it will print all, but we will concentrate only on the head so that we get to see what it is trying to print. Here if you see SBIN init, what is the process ID? 1. Parent process, that is the first process when you switched on your Linux box. Okay, anything else, it comes from another threads. Okay, getting it? That's all. Okay, now we will see something called as AUX. How does it really display? You see, you are able to see the username here. Okay, additional to what is not displayed here. Okay, you are able to see something called as user. Which user it is? Root, which means it is system driven, right? And then it has a PID of this, it has a CPU utilization of this, memory utilization of this, something like when it started, when it finished, what is the command. Those are of importance to us. Okay, I even don't know what this BSZ, RSS and all other things are. Okay, we are not bothered about, we shouldn't be bothered about everything. What is important we will take. Okay, that's all. But just understand that these commands will help you, give you some output which is helpful in your debugging process or something. Next, this is what is process tree. If you want to print something like a tree, okay, which triggered something, which job triggered something else, you are able to see something of a tree structure, right? So which means what? This K thread is the main program which triggered K worker, which again triggered K worker 0H something. Okay, so that is why if you see the parent process is 0 and the PID of this job is 2, this triggered K worker, which means what? This PID should become the PID here. It triggered something else, it triggered another sub job, correct? That's why this 2 triggered this 2. This program triggered this one, which means what? This 3 should go somewhere else if it is such case, but if it is not, that is why all are at one level. If it is something like this, another sub level, it will, you will see something cross. This 3 will also be somewhere else here. Okay, just because this K thread is one process which triggered all of these jobs, you are able to see everything in common. PPID is common, right? If you have something like mm_ per CPU triggering something else, you will see this kind of cross again somewhere else. Understood? That is the thing that you need to understand here. Okay, PS tree also will show you the same thing. See, system D, it triggered something of this triggered this, right? If you see the tree command that I installed in this app to get something to show you example, that was showing me the tree structure of the directory structure or file structure of this particular machine, but it was not telling anything about the process. For process, if you want to see something called as tree structure, this is the thing. Okay, the display is something similar, but the output is something else. Getting it? Any doubts here? This is all about your directory and file structure. What are the files physically present on your machine? This one speaks about your processes that are running on your machine in tree format. Okay, that's all. Next, this is also a similar command which will help you bring that similar output, but most of the time we will be using this, which means what? A is for all, X is for all the users, X is the user, J means job, F is forceful, full or else. Okay, next. Similarly, if I want to see something specific to one particular user alone, if I want to see only root user process, nothing else, that is the time I say user U is for user and provide which username. Okay, so what we will see how it displays. I will not display all, I will just say head. So that's it. Only for the user here, root. Okay, but previously it was everyone, right? That's the thing. And then this in actual, you have to just copy paste into your notepad for your daily working and all. This you can't frame up your command then and there. Okay, these three commands will be useful. Just copy paste and save them elsewhere so that you can revisit them and then copy paste, because you can't by heart this, right? But what these will tell, we will see. It tells about your parent ID or process ID. After that, something called as CPU, some status. After that, which command. This wait channel, there is something called wait channel which speaks about your program, how much time it went into waiting state without executing or running anything. Okay, so something like that, hung state and all. Suppose that I have something called this, it will tell me about something else. What is that something? We'll see. It is different from the one that is shown here. This output is different. It has few more entries here. Okay, it shows also about PPID, something, something like your percentile CPU is common. So these status is something new that I see here. TT even I don't know. Okay, but which are of importance for us is what I am discussing. Okay, not everything is required for you. Okay, all that you need is PPID, PID, percentile of CPU usage, memory consumption, all of those. Okay, but understand that whatever you put it here, okay, in commas will all be displayed here. If you don't want, you can remove it off. Just because these were copied from man, everything is like the same thing. But what is relevant to me is what I can use it. Understand another one more thing. Here I passed something as -EO. Here I passed something called as AXO, which means what? O is for output, A is for all, X is the username. Okay, A means all for a user called X, and then output all of these only. Getting it? That is what we need to understand in the command, not just blindly copy the entire thing. Okay, similarly, if I am like, my interest is to print only the terminal type, parent ID, full name, mount point location, and wait channel. These are the arguments that I need to pass. That's all. Okay, understood. Next, we will go into much more, little deeper. There is something called as daemon process, which means what? Without your knowledge, some will be running, something like your HTTPD, cron. Okay, Nginx is also running something, web servers are running, databases are running. Are you able to go look daily, you key in something and start them, only then you are saying? Some are like running 24/7. Those are what we call it as daemon process. Every daemon process will have a D attached. Okay, that D is nothing but this particular D. Okay, actually it is a syslog, system log. Even if you are logged in or not, it should start doing that logging of information, right? And it should be a daemon job. That is why the D. Getting it? Now I don't want to trigger this one by just executing this command, it will show some output. You can understand that, but understand the importance of syslog d. Syslog is something like your system log. D is because of your daemon, okay, and it runs not because of you, your intervention or you logged in. It is a system command. It is run by the root user. It is running 24/7 non-stop until the time the system is healthy. Okay, system, if it crashes, goes into bad state, that it gets logged into system log file and then halts, does nothing. Okay, next, this command should be used only when you know that your process ID is 42. Suppose you have seen something called as 16 something here before, like 672, 820, whatever, 1648, whatever. This is the number that you need to copy here. I just gave an example, but it could be 1648 or something. Okay, then you should say 1648. That's my example question for PID. What is it actually doing? If I want to know, I have to use this command and say this is my PID. Get next. Okay, right? Suppose a process is running, but it went into a bad state. I need to put my system back into the healthy state. So I have to kill something which is causing the trouble to put my machine into working state or something, healthy state or whatsoever, right? So what is the command that I will use that time? Kill. Kill is also another command, just like your ls command or whatever. Okay, kill whatever you want to kill, process ID or process name or whatsoever. So here it says kill is the command, and then say kill -9. I'll come to -9. It is what we call it as what? Signal. It is not a part of the command or an argument. It is a signal that you send to do some job. Okay, so it's a special signal to the kill command itself. Okay, to kill or kill command. Okay, so all that you see is PS tree minus a, some process is running, right? So suppose PS tree minus a, if I say where mouse is also stopped working. Okay, PS minus a, and I hit enter. So it is telling me something in tree format. Okay, forget about that one. PS command. If I want to kill 1648, all that I have to say is kill 1648, right? What it will do? It will kill the environment itself, which means what? This particular terminal that I opened will get killed. So we'll see. Didn't do anything. Is this PID because of this shell or that's all, terminated. I need sudo privilege to restart kill forcibly or something. Okay, now I can't enter or work in this machine at all, right? This is the way I fix the issues, right? And then why -9? -9 is a value which is like a special value that gives us a like a something like -f, forcefully kill something. Instead of -f, these people called it as -9, but in actual every value like -9, -8, -1, each one has a specific job or purpose to do. Mostly we will be using forceful kill. Administrators or system admins or whatsoever, those people should be aware of all the values. For us to reboot, we just don't care anything, we just say forcefully kill. So that is why we use a signal value called -9 and pass that value to a command called kill, and kill what job? Getting it? So that is why I was using sudo kill -9 something, and understand that it requires sometimes sudo privilege, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, if it requires, you have to provide sudo as well. Okay, Why this sudo is required is because maybe because of caution, because you are trying to kill something and it is running something. The system might think that okay, it should not be actually the purpose that you want to achieve or something. You're by mistakenly doing. So that is why it asks for some kind of confirmation. That is why we need to use sudo. Else not required. Okay. Other things not required. Okay. Y9. Okay. Okay. So with that, we'll stop the session today. Why? Because the other things that I have to speak about, this daemon process, zombie, hunger, orphan process, all this requires some time and explanation. And if I explain you this one, you will be able to run commands, just copy paste whatever is required, whatever is not, debug issues, triage issues in no time and all. Okay, but if you have this 5 to 10 minutes of understanding on each of these, you will be able to proceed with anything else, like which command would be appropriate to kill a zombie, which one is appropriate to kill a demon, what is the safe way to kill a demon, all that you will understand then. So I don't want to rush here and say, okay, this is the command or this is the theory. So we'll take some little more time and explain about it tomorrow. Okay, so for now we'll stop it here and then say underline. So I will know that we have discussed it till here. Okay, we'll discuss that daemon process, other things tomorrow. But the basic usage of commands is all about this itself. With this only you will be able to restart, you will be able to understand the what the job is doing, what job it is hung and all. Okay. The rest is something, okay. I have to, with that process, we have spoken something called as cron job, foreground job, background job and all, right? How, why ampersand is used in our, we are clear, but we will discuss it again. Okay. And I will show you through an example like this one, like it's an indefinite loop. Okay. I don't have a condition which says like less than 0, greater than 0, which means it's an indefinite loop. It will not kill by itself, it will be running, though you want to kill also, it will not be killed. That is the time when, what step would you take, right? So these kind of scenarios we will mimic tomorrow and see how do I kill each, how do I make my system to come back to normalcy and all. Okay, there is so much to discuss. Okay, anyways, fine. So anyone has any questions on today's class? Will it be possible to show this notepad is years of learning, buddy? Okay, I'll try to share. Okay, things which we have done so far. Okay, suppose a process is hung. Yes, I will discuss this hung state continuously running, which is nothing but your daemon jobs. How do we make them safe? Okay, how do we identify first of all that it is like your system is in hung state? All that we will discuss tomorrow. Those are the actual use cases, I say. Okay, that is what is nothing but your triaging, debugging, support that you do as a part of your daily DevOps role, right? So those are the use cases. So we'll discuss, we'll not go in a hurry. We still have time. Okay, there is still 2 months for you to complete your DevOps completely. Okay, so we'll go everything in depth. Can we make a user defined process as daemon process? No, daemon is completely system driven. No, so you can't. You can't give that extra privilege. People who joined online, please go on mute. Okay, are there any questions? Classroom, online? No questions. So what I will do, I'll give you some task after I go back to office, maybe after half an hour, 1 hour or so. Try them. Are you able to get to a proper command formation or not? You go and see. Okay. All this will be a part of your exercises, tasks, whatever name you give. Okay. Sorry, I paused the recording.